Yes guys, welcome back to another Fantasy Football Fix YouTube video. My name is FPL Nacho, and in this video we are going to be looking at those top transfers going into Game Week 7. Now, quick reminder, if you didn't know already, Game Week 7 is a double game week for both Luton and Burnley. So we are going to focus on one particular asset that I definitely think needs to be on your radar. So as always guys, if you can, drop a like and smash that subscribe button. It'll be massively appreciated. And without further ado, let's get into today's video. Okay, so first up, a player that doesn't double in Game Week 7, but definitely needs to be on our radars is Mo Salah. Such a consistent performer so far this season. I believe actually delivering FPL points in each fixture that they've had in the league so far. And that was the same for Game Week 6. A lot of FPL managers use their wildcard. Well, I say a lot. FPL managers use their wildcard in Game Week 6, and a lot of people, the reason why they've done it was to bring in Mo Salah into their FPL teams. They got a little bit ahead of the curve, as we know, Mo Salah is going to be a popular pick in our FPL teams regardless in the coming game weeks. Now, why are FPL managers buying him? Well, look at the underlying numbers right now. He is just delivering each and every week. 0.64 XG per 90 and 0.64 XA per 90. For those that don't know, that's expected goals and expected assists. He's offering both goal scoring and chance creation in this Liverpool team. So we've seen a really well-rounded asset. I think the big question mark right now regarding Mo Salah is whether he's actually delivering in terms of that goal threat that we've seen in years gone by. Now, I know his XG is 0.64, but this does take into account penalties. Now, non-pen XG per 90 is actually at 0.38 for Mo Salah. And you can see with the big chances as well, it being only 0.86. That's still decent numbers, but we need to remember that it's Mo Salah, and historically we have seen that more around the 1.2 big chances per 90, where Liverpool funneled everything through both him and Sadio Mane back in the day. And it's also worth noting the price point of Mo Salah being at 12.5 million. So I know it seems a little bit harsh because his numbers are still good, but if we're going to pay absolute premium for Mo Salah, then we need to make sure that he is by far and away the best midfielder in these underlying stats, because we don't have that luxury this season of 11 million midfielder that we can compare him to. It's literally Mo Salah and then all the way down to Son and Rashford. And because there's like 3 million difference, we need to make sure that Mo Salah's figures actually add up. Because when you start to build a squad with Mo Salah in it, you have to make serious sacrifices along the way. You don't have the luxury of having 9 million midfielders, an 8.5, a 7. You literally have to have Mo Salah, a 9, and then all the way down to a 6. So he does take up a lot of room. But I think the big question is, do we bring him in for Game Week 7? They're away against Tottenham, followed by away against Brighton in their next two fixtures. And then Game Week 9 onwards is Everton at home, followed by Nottingham Forest at home. So I think the big thing first and foremost is this. Everybody is going to have Mo Salah come Game Week 9. The reason why I say that is because a lot of active managers are either devising a free transfer strategy to bring him in, or they're literally dead-ending to bring him in on a wildcard in Game Week 9. So I like bringing in Mo Salah now because you're getting 2 game weeks of what I'd class as a differential Mo Salah, and we saw that last game week. So if you could bring him in as part of a free transfer, I think we just get it done because it's going to restructure your team. But if you can do it as part of free transfers, I think that's fantastic way of doing it, because what it will do is prolong the use of your wildcard later down the line. Because to be honest with you, outside of Mo Salah, I see no reason why people are having to use their wildcard unless they've been decimated with injuries. So in terms of a Game Week 7 transfer, Mo Salah I would not say is essential, just because that non-pen XG being below 0.4 doesn't scream to me that he is like absolutely at the top of his game. But as I said, we're all going to eventually go there. And if you can get him in sooner rather than later, you're basically just having 1 or 2 game weeks worth of him being a slightly lower ownership, where that could improve your overall rank. So fantastic transfer for Game Week 7. Not essential, but if you can get him in, absolutely get it done. So next up, we need to move into another problem area in FPL, which is bench or replacements. Now, those that know from Game Week 6, it was a complete saviour job from Newcastle on the last kickoff of Game Week 6. For those that were struggling for overall ranks but had double Newcastle, maybe just Trippier, they were the ones that must have saved your game week, because they definitely did that with me. I had Trippier, and thank God he delivered with those 18 points. Now, Ben Chilwell is a big problem in FPL right now. Obviously being benched for the second game in a row. Now, it's worth noting Malagusto did get sent off. Could this mean Chilwell plays for Chelsea just to offer that attacking threat? Maybe. But for me, the fixtures are getting tough for Chelsea. They're so unpredictable as a team. I think moving him on, because he is quite a cash cow in the teams, is the best move to make. And I think these are the three that I'll target right now. It's worth noting, the likes of Trent Alexander-Arnold later down the line are definitely going to be picks, but he's not fit right now. And I think going for options around the same price point as Chilwell or cheaper is the correct route to go for. So, first and foremost, I know it seems obvious, but Newcastle would probably be my preference right now. Just come off the back of a fantastic victory in game week 6. But with the fixtures coming up, I see them continuing to not only deliver in clean sheets, but offer attacking threat. Now, Botman isn't going to score each and every game week, so don't be buying him thinking that you're signing up a goal-scoring centre-back. XG per 90 so far is at 0.04. XA is actually at 0.11. So, look, we're not having him scoring headers each and every game week. But what I do think could be a consistent theme is Trippier in attacking returns. Yes, he's got 0 XG per 90, but I don't really expect him to have high stats in this area. But it's the XA, 0.31 per 90. And the reason why I like it for Trippier is because he is on all set pieces. And we saw it with the Callum Wilson goal. He is being encouraged to absolutely bomb on down that right flank and offer the width to the team. Really, really good. And I think it's been coming, the Trippier returns in game week 6. Maybe not to the extent that we actually saw, but they definitely were coming. So in terms of the Newcastle defenders right now, they're very, very close for bonus per 90, so I think both are just doing really well on the baseline bonus points. And the predicted points over the next 4 game weeks are actually really, really close. Only 1 point in it between Trippier and Botman. So I think the conclusion for me is this. It's the route to go for, definitely, because all of the community have Newcastle defenders. So if you don't have one, I think you need to cover yourself off for game week 7 at home against Burnley, which I think is a really good fixture for Newcastle. If you have the money available, I do think Trippier is the right move for your teams from a Newcastle defensive perspective. But there's a few things I would note. Firstly, I think Botman at 2 million cheaper is a brilliant value pick. He's going to be very good on the bonus line. I would just say attacking-wise, he isn't going to deliver at the same rate as Trippier. But if you're trying to bring in Mo Salah as part of a free transfer strategy, I think Botman may be the route to go for them, because spending 2 million more on Trippier, I'd be very surprised if you then have the funds available to allocate a midfield slot to Mo Salah. So I think it depends what strategy you're on. If you're looking to wildcard in game week 9, get Trippier in, and then you know when you wildcard, you can restructure the team. If you're planning more long-term and you need cash available to you, then Botman is the pick. I think both are fantastic options, and the fixtures are really good. It is worth noting. Now, the other one that I think you should consider if you have already a Newcastle defender and you don't want to double up is going to be Matty Cash. Now, he is on the complete opposite spectrum of both Botman and Trippier. Pretty much 0 existence for expected assists per 90, but 0.36 expected goals per 90. For anyone that's watched Aston Villa so far, Matty Cash has been encouraged to bomb on and really attack that box in phases, especially when the ball's on the left-hand side of the flank, kind of coming in as almost a second forward / winger. So it's really good to see. And at 4.7 million, if you were to pick him over Botman, you definitely are going for the more attacking defender in the game. Now, in terms of bonus points, he isn't at the same level as Newcastle right now. But of course, with the attacking returns, he is obviously offsetting whatever bonus you get with Newcastle with some potential goal action. And the expected FPL points are better for Matty Cash, which I would expect because Aston Villa defensively are very good. And also Cash is offering those attacking potentials. Predicted points is the worst of the 3. But I would say with the fixtures coming up, Brighton, Wolves, West Ham and Luton, I think there is fantastic opportunity here for not only goals, but clean sheets over this period. And I think if you have Trippier and you don't want to go to Botman, Matty Cash should absolutely be the next defender on your list. But let me know your thoughts in the comments. So, last up, we need to talk about this double game week that we have in front of us. And probably the only one option that I would consider as a transfer for your FPL teams. And of course, that is going to be Luton's main man, Carlton Morris, at 5.5 million at the time of recording. Now, he is a Luton forward. I need to address this first and foremost. The only reason why we're considering him is because he doubles in game week 7, away against Everton and at home against Burnley. Now, I'm going to be honest with you. In terms of fixtures, I wouldn't think Luton are going to beat Everton at Goodison Park personally. I think that's a tough game for them and they may get a goal, but I don't think I'm hugely optimistic. And then at home against Burnley, I think Burnley are probably a better team that I've seen right now, and I wouldn't be surprised if Burnley win that game as well. But for those managers that are currently sat there with Nicholas Jackson, for example, and he is suspended for game week 7, I wouldn't be looking to sell Alvarez to Morris. I think if you've moved to Alvarez in game week 6, I think you just accept that you have Alvarez now, and it's not exactly a bad thing away against Wolves. But if you have Jackson in particular, I think it's definitely a debate to say that you go to Morris rather than Alvarez in game week 7, just to double down on the fixtures. And now, it's worth noting, the XG per 90 is actually good for Morris at 0.48. However, you've probably seen this a lot where his XG per 90 is good, but it's because the penalties are involved. His non-pen XG per 90 is actually 0.16. So in terms of open play, very far and few between. He isn't really getting opportunities to put the ball in the net from open play perspectives. But obviously, being on penalties, I think a lot of people view this as a bad thing that he's only scoring penalties. But for me, that is just an added bonus. And when I'm looking at an FPL option, if they have penalties on top of that, then that is just a plus. That is a really good thing when we are looking at options. And big chances per 90 at 0.62 for a team that don't really accumulate XG as an entire team. That's not too bad, really. So, look, game week 7 to 10, 17.8 predicted points is actually in the top 5 for forwards over that period. But I think if you are bringing him in game week 7, you're probably only looking at it as a 1-week punt, because then Tottenham at home, Forest away, Villa away, nothing really screams value over that period. So Morris is a tricky one. I think if we sat there with Nicholas Jackson, with maybe the plan to wildcard in game week 9, I like the idea of doing Jackson to Morris for one game week, and then maybe looking at another 1-week punt in game week 8 before you wildcard in game week 9. But if I'm looking at a long-term move, I would be less inclined to bring in Morris, because it feels like a very difficult hop-on, hop-off strategy where free transfers are really important for you to maybe build a team that accommodates Mo Salah in it. So, to conclude, Morris, a good option for game week 7. Am I expecting tons of goals from both Luton and Morris? Absolutely not. But could he outscore Julian Alvarez this game week? I think that's a real high possibility, just because of the expected minutes being double of that of Julian Alvarez, and we always need to remember that. So Morris, definitely a consideration for your game week 7 teams. And that just leaves me to say thank you so much for tuning into today's video. I really hope it's provided some value. And let me know in the comments, who are your top transfers going into game week 7. Make sure you do drop a like and smash that subscribe button. And I will see you in the next one. Take care. Cheers.